This video is like no other recessed light video out there. Today I am going to show you how to install recessed lights in a finished ceiling where there's no attic access, there's no empty voids up there, there's no workarounds. I'm going to be drilling tiny holes through the ceiling joists using an extended drill bit. I'll have all the steps here in this video. My recessed light videos have been extremely successful so far, but I have none like this. And all of the other videos out there claiming that they're installing recessed lights with no attic access, they still somehow have some kind of shortcut. This is going to be pure, original. Only access I have is right here in this downstairs bedroom. We will also be popping off this ceiling fan and replacing it with something a little bit more modern. It's really not that difficult. Let's get into it. Well, this is what we're working with here. You can see that I have a blank ceiling with just a regular ceiling fan light. Two switches. One is for the light, one is for the fan. And if you are interested in the rest of this master bedroom remodel, go ahead and click the link right up here in the corner. I even show you how to install one of these beautiful fireplaces. The brands I use are Torchstar typically, or this Insignor ones. Both have amazing reviews. I believe these are like 5 out of 5 stars, while these are like 4.8 or something. These are the ones I'm going to be installing here just because I have 6 of them in a pack. That's 8, so I'd have 2 remaining. I decided I'm going to do 6 up here. These are 4-inch lights. These are dimmable down to 5%, which is amazing. These are IC rated, meaning they can come into contact with insulation. And they give me 3 colors to choose from. There's a little switch on them, which you'll see later. There's some cute little baby lights here. Perfect for bedrooms. You also have these quick connects, which make it easy so you don't need wire nuts. You also have these knockout punches here on both sides, which is where you'll feed the wire through. So you will need some kind of knockout holes here, 3/8, and you push these in, and this really just grabs onto the wire. And the main reason I'm opening this box now instead of waiting until it's install time is I want to check to make sure my hole saw fits. You can see it does with a little bit of room around there. The hole saw really just needs to cover this inner ring here. This flange will sit on the outside of the hole, so you have a little bit of wiggle room there. I'll have a link to this exact same size one here along with my 6-inch one down in the description below. It even comes with one of these little bits here. While I'm going through materials, might as well get a dust bowl here too. You'll see what this is for. It collects the dust. And then of course some Romex wire. You're typically using a 14 gauge or a 12 gauge. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. If we get 500 likes on this video, I am going to do a free recessed light install video for somebody who needs it. I will post that in a quick 60-second short video. And so I'm going to be doing that through my Wishlist Property Management. This isn't the shirt. But my Wishlist Property Management company, where we go out and help somebody about once a month. So remember, if this gets 500 likes or more, I'll go ahead and do that and post it. There's this free app here where you punch in the layout that you're looking for, which I want 6 lights like that. And then I type in the measurement, so 176 by 161. And then I calculate it. And it'll give me the dimensions. And I'll use these as a rough layout here. I'll still alter it a little bit based off of, I have this corner cut out right above the door. You can see how it angles, and there's just other things to take note of. I also need my middle lights to be centered with the ceiling fan and so on. But this is a great little tool. It's free. I'll have it linked down in the description below. It's not even an app. You just go to the website, punch this stuff in, and you're ready to go. So it says 40 inches from the wall. And to me, that's a little bit far away from the wall. I want them close to the wall because light shines. When it hits the wall, it brightens that wall up. Manipulate yours however you think would make it look better. To me, I like to stick around 30 inches from the walls. So again, the light hits the walls immediately and just brightens everything up. I got the ceiling fan off here. I've never seen a box like this, but they're all essentially the same. So these are the wires that come from the light switches, and usually when you have a ceiling fan, you have a black, a red, a white, and a ground. This is what you call a 12-3 or 14-3 wire. There's 1, 2, 3 wires rather than your typical just 2. Then the red is typically your light, your black is typically your fan. And you can confirm that by checking your light switch. If the red wire goes to your light, then it goes to your light. If it goes black goes to your fan, then black is your fan. And just in case this isn't obvious, my ceiling fan here that I'm replacing with does not have a light anymore. It's just a fan. That's why I'm able to take my red light wire and turn it into the black wire going to my lights. Without using too much tape, this is what we have as a diagram. This is my light setup here. the old ceiling fan, I have two separate 14 gauge wires. One will go that way, one will go that way. So it'll run in between two joists going that way, tie into that light. Then it's going to jump over here in between these joists. I have to carve holes through there or drill holes through them. And then same that way. There's probably 3 more joists going that way. Then a separate wire over here going to that light. And then again splitting into 2 more wires. One going over here and one going over there and dead ending. If you look at these junction boxes that come with the recessed lights, you'll see there's enough here to tie in 3 more wires. Now there's not much room in these, but I can at least fit 2 into here. If you're not sure if you should be using a 12 gauge wire or a 14 gauge wire, the sure safe bet is to just use what's already in your ceiling, what's already going into your light switches. It was most likely done right the first time. A 14 gauge wire can only be used on a 15 amp breaker. It can't hold the amps, the power of a 20 amp breaker. So keep that in mind. It's not that complicated. A simple Google search can tell you, give you this exact information verbatim of what I just said. But again, that helpful tip at the end of this video will confirm what I'm telling you, so you make sure you get it right. And if you're also thinking, well, I might as well just use a 12 gauge wire since I can use it for both a 15 amp and a 20 amp breaker. Yes, that is true, but a 12 gauge wire is a little more expensive. It's harder to run through your ceilings over here, and since it's a thicker wire, it's harder to shove all of that into a junction box and work with, and you need bigger wire nuts and all that stuff. So I'm going to use a 14 gauge wire. That's what's already in my ceiling, and it's a 15 amp breaker. You definitely don't need to tape up a whole diagram like this for yourself, but I do recommend taping off where the lights will actually go, because it gives you a good representation of what it's going to look like. I could see exactly where the lights are going to be. To install the dust bowl, you get it, you slip your hole saw in there and attach your drill. There you have it. I have the exact placement marked right here, so I'm going to put the tip of the drill bit sticking out right there, exactly where that X is. Another tip here is to actually start in reverse. That way these little teeth do not rip the sheetrock and just blow dust everywhere. It actually kind of just carves out a little hole, a little line. I'm gonna hold it for a second, let the dust settle a little bit. I actually brought the shop vac, so I should bring that over here. Oh wow, they even put insulation in between floors. A little trickier to work with and feed my wires through, but we'll make it work. As I mentioned before, this is a junction box I've never seen before. But you can see a little knockout punch here, a little knockout hole. You do need to put one of these wire connectors in there, so when I feed my wire through here, it'll have something, this grabs onto the wire basically. This one has a wire connector on it right now, so you can't slide this box really up and down this wire. It's holding it in place. There it goes, my wire connector is right there, so I can feed wire through it now. Then I'll take my wire and I'll cut it a little bit more than what I think I need to go from hole to hole. See all of it right here. Should be good. I shove my wire from the ceiling fan to this hole. And here we go. Got it right here. Whoa. The easy part is done, guys. I have the wire coming from there, going to the light back there and to the light directly above me, but those are running through the joist, in between the joist, I should say. Now it's time to start drilling from that hole to that light, and from that hole to the light over there, which requires going through the joist, which is why you're here watching this video. What I would recommend you get is a 69-inch long drill bit just like this here, and make sure you have the hole right there, which I'll take this out and I'll show you exactly what that is. That little hole right there is what you feed a wire through. So once you're done drilling through, you attach a wire and you can pull it back out to where it came from. This is also a 3/4 inch wide drill bit. Usually I use a 1/2 inch drill bit, but it makes it a little bit harder to finagle the wires through. This will make the wires glide right through. I stripped the casing off of the wires and then left the copper ones several inches longer. Then I'll put electrical tape all around the ends here, and what I'm trying to do is make a cone-like shape so it can maneuver through the holes much easier without snagging. Well, I'm an idiot. and I thought this one looked kind of funny. It's pretty dull there. This is one I was using, and you could see the tip on there. This actually digs into the wood and really pulls this whole thing through when drilling a hole. I can't even puncture the wood with this. This is a dirt auger. For some reason when I was shopping for this, I looked at my old previous history in Amazon and it sent me on this wild goose chase for a longer one. And it took me to something that's not even in the same category as a wood drilling drill bit. So I have to go and order a new one because the one again is not long enough that I have here. This is also why you should follow the links down in the description below, because I will be linking the correct products to get you to where you need to go. I am going to go ahead and install my ceiling fan though. This is not a ceiling fan installation video, but I will go through some of the wiring since it involves the recessed light part. But I'm going to go ahead and fasten this up and put it up there, and I'll get to you in a sec. Here's my original ceiling fan wires. Here is the one wire I put in going that way. And then this is the wire that is coming out right there for my other recessed lights. Tie these together along with my red, and all the neutrals come together and all the grounds come together. I'll show you the final hookup here basically, but remember the black is what goes to the ceiling fan. The red is what connects to these black lights. If it'd be easier, I could put some red tape along these just so you know. Here's another way to double check your light versus your fan. Be very, very careful about this, because remember the breaker box should actually be off this entire time. I turned mine on. Here's my light switch. So red is hot, black is not. Red is hot, my black is not. Turned off all my breakers so it's a little darker in here. I want to show you this one last time before I hook everything up. All of my neutrals up here. The neutrals from my main power and the two neutrals from both my strands of recessed lights are all tied together, and then I have an extra here which will go to the ceiling fan. My grounds, same thing. My ground from my main power, my grounds from my two recessed lights, and then I have an extra for the ceiling fan. Then we have my main light power tied to my two blacks, which are my recessed light strands, but no extra for the ceiling fan, right? Because there's no light on the ceiling fan. So this is it here, all tied up. Here is just the fan. So the fan switch comes in, and I'll hook this up directly to the fan. So these three right here go to the fan. My recessed lights, right now, if I were to hook those up, would work if I turn the breaker on. So it's that simple. All my neutrals together, all my grounds together, all my lights together with no extra thing, and then my fan with no extra thing. I am back a couple days later with the correct drill bit. Let's take a look. You can see here, this one is for wood. It is 72 inches long, and I got a 9 1/16 bit instead of the 3/4 inch this time. Really hard to see it on camera, but there's a tiny, tiny hole right there, and that's what you're gonna slip the wire through. So here I go looping the copper wire through, bending it back on itself, and I'm trying to make my electrical wire as narrow as possible. I'm demonstrating this on the bed so you can see it, but you'll actually need to do this up in the ceiling where your drill bit is. So you drill through your joist, wire it up, and then pull the drill bit back out from where you started. So what you saw right there is the basis of this whole thing. I've gotten from that light across all these joists without ripping up any sheetrock, and now I just need to replicate that 3 more times. So we'll take a look. Got the wire coming up from there, and I've got it being pulled through right here. I now have my wires running on that entire side of the room. So before I get to this side of the room, which is going to be the same thing as that side, I'm going to get into how to actually connect the wires in these boxes, which I've done 100 times on this channel. So you can check out those other videos for more in-depth information. But essentially, these over here are dead ends, right? My wires come from the center light, go that way and stop. Then they go that way and stop. Therefore, I only need one wire, like I have there, going into one of these knockout holes here, and that's it. I don't need to punch out that one or that one. However, in the center there, that middle one, we have the main power running from the ceiling fan over to that center one. So you have one wire coming in there. Then I have one wire coming out going to that light, and then one wire coming out of this knockout going to that. So there's going to be 3 wires in the small box, which usually I never do that. Usually it's one continuous circuit. But in this case, I decided to spread it out in an H-shaped kind of way. So I am gonna have to put 3 wires in here, plus the wires that are already in here. But you can see there's 4 different holes, or 3 more holes for 3 wires. So that's how you do it. But I'm going to quickly show you how to just, simply wire these. So here you'll just pick any random one of these knockouts and you just get flathead. And just kind of keep twisting it until it comes off like that. Then you'll need these knockout connectors, which are 3/8 inch. Push them in this direction. And what this does is it holds the wire. Once you push a wire through there, it's like a barb. You can't pull it back out really. There you go. So this is quite a bit of wire I have excess in here for the small box, but since there's only one wire coming in, I'll make it work. So I'm going to hook up black to black, and you just push it in. And you can see these are cleared. There will be copper shining through here. Let's see if we can get a close-up. You can see the copper tip on the new wire just pushed in. So the black is good. White goes in there. Copper is all the way up to the tip. And lastly, the ground, which my wire is a little bent up. And there we go. And you can give it a little practice pull like that. These are all good. And now I just tuck them in. Close the lid. And then what I like to do, I go the extra step, get some electric tape, and then I tape up the door. There we go. Now this box is ready to go up in the ceiling. I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, and maybe I'll actually add this clip earlier in the video out of place, because I know people are going to bring it up in the comments. But yes, I am drilling somewhat blind up in my ceiling, which can be dangerous in many instances around your house. You can have plumbing, you can have wires up there, all kinds of unknown things, obviously, if you can't see it, that are running in your ceiling. However, I know that I am safe in this room because I am tucked in a corner. I'll show you. I have this window and this window on this wall. This is a corner of my house. All of my plumbing, so my bathroom is way over there, and then all my other plumbing is on the other side of the house, especially upstairs. There's absolutely no plumbing up here. It is just a bedroom. And this ceiling fan is the only thing with wires or anything over here. There's no dryer vents. There's no bathroom vents. Nothing is running through my ceiling. I'm confident of that. However, obviously wiring does have to come to my ceiling fan through the ceiling, right? So one thing I know in my case is my switch is over here and it runs up. Therefore, I know that I have a set of wires somewhere in this general area coming to my ceiling fan. And I'll show you exactly where they're at. You can see my wires right there. So had I have gone one more joist over, my drill bit could have been right there. However, when I'm drilling, I'm typically going as high as I can for the most part. That way I would avoid these wires, because wires are almost always on the center of a stud or joist because they're avoiding the subflooring screws and other things like that, and drywall screws. So they center them. So if your drill bit is high or low, you can avoid it. If you're still not convinced, there's 2 other methods. First of all, this drill bit is extremely flimsy. So as you drill holes through the joist up there, you can actually rock it back and forth and see if that drill bit snags on anything, hits anything that it shouldn't. And if it's not, then you can continue going because you know you're not drilling into anything except for a solid joist surface. If it was a pipe or plumbing, it would be kind of rounded. You would feel something weird in there. Wires would pull on it. And then the last thing you could do is most stud finders nowadays actually have a wire detector on there. They can detect if there's voltages or some kind of current running through the wall in that particular area, which is really neat. Even like your $10, $15, $20 stud finder will typically have a little lightning bolt on it, and it'll tell you if there's wiring right there. Anyway, I should say this video is for entertainment purposes anyway. Consult your electrician or do this at your own risk. I love the look of 3000. I would just buy the straight up 3000 and save a few bucks, but these were actually already a reused item anyway. So these were cheap as could be. I'm happy with this. If I ever wanted to change it or somebody in the future, it's as easy as flipping a switch. Then to install the actual light, you just line these up, plug them in like that, screw this in, and then you have your light. But I do this once they're all hooked up and in the ceiling. I actually typically install these boxes in the ceiling when the wire's already up there, but for demonstration purposes, I did it here on my bed.
Start it up. Lit.
It took forever to actually film this video because we just have a rough time cleaning our room sometimes. Kids been sleeping in here and stuff. Finally got around to it though, so I got to show you some of the final shots. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace.